Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us this afternoon for the weekly webinar presented by Affinity Federal Credit Union. Today's topic is auto buying, a guide to your next auto purchase. Hopefully, everyone here will walk out of this webinar with new techniques and new tips that can help them in their new vehicle purchase in the near future. My name is Oscar Cordoba, and I'm the External Affairs and Financial Education Manager here at Affinity. I'm in charge of the financial education efforts for all of the areas that we service, which is New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. Okay. Before we begin, a brief disclaimer. The disclaimer states that the information provided to all of you this afternoon is intended to be for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. If you are in need to talk to somebody in regards of something going on that you want to discuss, whether it's an attorney, a financial advisor, or a tax consultant, or a professional, feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy to put you in touch with somebody that can assist you with that. But everything of this afternoon is intended to be for educational purposes. Okay, great. All right, so this is what we're going to be covering this afternoon. 7-step to easier car buying. We're going to be talking a little bit about financing, then researching the right vehicle, shopping, going to the dealership, or privately, of course. A test drive, I'll mention insurance, how to negotiate, and trading. Okay. All right. So when you are ready to purchase a vehicle, you say, you know what, I want to purchase a vehicle, and now is the time. There's a couple of factors that you need to sit down and determine before you actually take the step to either get a pre-approved or go into a dealership to buy a car. And this is just a couple of these factors that need to be considered. Desired monthly payment. You want to make sure that you get a payment that fits within your budget. And remember, buying a vehicle is not just the monthly payment. As many of you know, there's other expenses that come with purchasing a vehicle, which are maintenance, gas, tolls, tires, oil changes, you name it. So I know that these expenses will come along down the road, but it is something that you may want to consider. Okay. Also, trading value. If you have a vehicle that you're trading in, oops, sorry about that. There we go. There we go. So if you have a vehicle that you're trading in, it's definitely something that you want to negotiate. But in order for you to negotiate your trading value, you need to know how much the car is worth, right? Any down payment, any money that you have saved up towards the down payment. Remember that a down payment lowers the amount financed, which in turn will lower your payment for the time that you're taking the loan out, right? Loan interest rate, the loan term. So the longer you have the loan out for, the longer that you're going to be paying this car, and it may be that you may want to get a term that is shorter because of the year of the vehicle, and I'll explain why. And lastly, sales tax. Okay. All right. So as members of Affinity, you guys have access to a couple of tools that Affinity has made available to you to make things easier. So on our website, if you go to affinity.fcu.com, you go to the tab where it says tips and tools, then you go to calculators, auto calculators, and how much can I afford? Those are the steps that you need to take. You reach a calculator where you can actually play around with numbers. You can enter an amount financed and an interest rate, and if there's any down payment and how long you want the payment and the loan for, and it'll give you an estimate of how much your payment will be. That way you kind of know where you stand, right? All right, very good. When you're ready to be pre-approved, we offer many different affordable loans, and I'll talk about the different loans that we have throughout the presentation. But in order for you to get a pre-approval, you can either apply over the phone at our 800 number. You can do it online through your online banking profile, or you can schedule an appointment with one of our branch personnel as well as online. Okay, why is a pre-approval important? Getting them pre-approved will give you information about how much you're going to be paying, the interest rate, the term, and everything, even before you go to the dealership. So sometimes when you go into a dealership, they're going to ask you, the salesperson is going to ask you, what is the monthly payment you can afford? And this question has many different meanings to them. You could being very naive, you can say, you know what, I can afford $250 a month. Well, with that information, now they can actually offer you a vehicle that may be what you want to purchase, but if it's too much of a price tag, instead of them working with you to lower the amount of the vehicle, the price, what they'll do is they'll extend the term to make sure that the payment of the loan fits what you've mentioned when you first walked in. So with having a pre-approval, we'll bypass that, because you have already talked to your credit union, you have already uploaded or provided your pay stubs, and you already know what the payment is going to be, how long it's going to be. There's no hidden factors in the transaction, right? Here it says, unfortunately, some less reputable dealers will use that monthly payment amount you provide to offer a cheaper vehicle with many add-ons to raise the price and match your monthly payment, or offer a vehicle that you cannot afford, but stretch out the payments, stretch out the term for very long term, possibly longer than the life of the vehicle. So this is what when I mentioned before that the term is very important. You may be interested in getting a loan for 3 years instead of 5, because perhaps the vehicle is a used vehicle, and perhaps the life of the vehicle may not be 5 years, and you don't want to be stuck making a payment with a car that is absolutely broken, right? A pre-approval helps you avoid this mess, allowing you to focus on locating the right vehicle for the right price and not the payments. What do you need to apply for a pre-approval? So all applicants and co-applicants need to provide contact information, phone and email, housing status. Do you own? Do you rent? Do you live with friends or family? Of course, your employment information and income information. So what besides your employment information or employment income, what other income is out there? And the reason why we need this information is we want to make sure that we're protecting you as well as us. So we want to make sure that we're doing a good loan and you fit right with the loan. You are able to afford the payment comfortably, right? Whether you're still car shopping or have already picked out a vehicle will determine what other information or documentation will be required. Also, if you're still car shopping but want to get pre-approved for a loan to buy from a dealership, you'll need to provide any trading information. So if you have a vehicle that you're trading in, we wanna know about that. And around how much do you expect to finance? Okay. Now, always keep in mind that this amount that you're expecting to finance needs to include the purchase price, any taxes, any tax, title, warranty, term of the loan. Okay. Now, you will not know all of these different numbers until you go to the dealership, right? So you could technically go to the dealership and they'll give you like all of the information on a vehicle to get pre-approved. So you can get pre-approved over the phone at the dealership as well. All right. With pre-approvals. You want to make your purchase as seamless as possible, right? So you want to apply for an amount that is higher than what you're looking to purchase. And this is what I mean. Let's say you want to purchase a vehicle for $20,000 and you apply for $20,000. And guess what? You get approved for $20,000. Well, guess what? When you come down to the final number, that $20,000 perhaps turn into $22,500 or $23,000, because to that $20,000 they added the title fees, the taxes, any other fee that they may have. So now that you've been pre-approved for $20,000, you find yourself in between a rock and a hard place, because either you have to put up all of that extra cost out of pocket, or you need to reapply for another pre-approval for $23,000 now. And that may delay the process, and you may end up not getting the loan. So you don't need to purchase a vehicle that costs as much as you're approved for, but purchasing a vehicle for more than you have been pre-approved can lead for your application needing to be re-reviewed, which causes delays, and you may not be eligible for the new higher amount. Okay. Now, if you applied for $25,000 and you only need 20, then the loan is going to be for 20. The loan is not going to be for 25. So you want to shoot high. You know, you want to shoot with having that little extra cushion for any fees, any taxes, any title fees that the dealership may throw in there as part of the transaction. Now, if you have some money on a savings account that you are okay with parting, because you just want to pay out of pocket all of those closing costs, then that is up to you. But usually I tell people, if you're gonna get a loan, try to apply for the highest that you can get. Even if you don't need to use that amount, you're gonna be using a lesser amount, at least you're covered. All right. Also, if you already picked out a vehicle from a dealer or private seller, you also need to provide for a pre-approval the VIN number. So many of you guys know the VIN number is the vehicle identification number, is unique for every vehicle. The exact mileage, of course, the dealer's or seller's name, again, trading information if you have one, the term of the loan, and then amount to be financed, including vehicle purchase prices, tags, title, warranty, everything. So the final figure is what you wanna be working with. That way you get approved for an amount that covers everything. Okay. All right. So when you go to a dealership, you may, or you're watching TV at night, you may see commercials saying, you know what, 0% for well-qualified buyers or something like that. And 0% sometimes acts like a hook, right? People are drawn to go into the dealership to get this 0%, which means you pay no interest for the term of the loan. Sometimes 0% may not be the best option, even though it's very enticing, right? So here in the next two slides, I'm gonna be talking about the difference between financing with 0% and rebates. Okay, a rebate is an incentive that the manufacturer or the dealership may give in order for you to buy a vehicle. Okay. Now, some important factors about 0% to consider is the fact that 0% is offered to consumers with the best credit history. So if you don't have stellar credit history, you may be drawn into going to the dealership, but perhaps not walk out of there with a 0%. Okay. Also, 0% forces you to choose between the rate or the rebate. You cannot have both. If you choose to have a rebate on a vehicle, you're gonna pay a rate, right? If you choose to have 0%, you are pretty much saying no to any rebates of the vehicle. Also, 0% generally is used for short-term loans, such as 36 months. So if you're looking for that 5-year or 6-year loan, not many or almost no financial institution will give you a loan for 0% for that loan, okay? 0% is often used for slow selling models that have trouble selling or are in stock. Every year, every dealership needs to make space for the newer models, the next year's model. So around, I want to say September, August or September, they need to start making space for the vehicles coming in for the next year. So sometimes if they have a vehicle that is not selling well or is taking too long, they may offer something like this for vehicles like this. Finally, 0% may be hidden, may have a hidden application or prepayment fees, which further reduces the savings. So I always tell people, for 0% or even any percent, make sure that you read the fine text on your contract. Make sure you ask questions and understand what you're walking into. Okay, very good. So this is a quick example of what a rebate versus a 0% means. So in both of these example, option 1 and option 2, the vehicle costs $23,000. With the rebate, with 0% financing, you get no rebate. So either you choose one or the other. So in option 1, you get 0 rebate. So the amount financed is $23,000. Interest rate is 0%, which is great. The term is 60 months, and for example sake, monthly payment is $383. Total vehicle cost is $23,000, right? Pretty straightforward. In option 2, if you choose to have a rebate, then the vehicle cost is $23,000. The rebate lowers that amount by the amount of the rebate. So we see here that is $2,000. It makes now the amount financed $21,000. You're gonna pay an interest rate. 2.99 is kind of like average of what the rates are right now. So 2.99, the terms the same, 60 months. Monthly payment is gonna be $377 because you're financing a lower amount. You're not financing 23,000, you're only financing 21. And the total vehicle cost is 22,620. So I made these two examples just to show you guys that sometimes 0% may not be the best option. You guys want to be able to see what kind of rebates are out there for new vehicles and do this calculation, okay? And find out which option benefits you the most. The total vehicle cost on option 1 is 23,000. Option 2 is 22,620. Many of you may say, you know what, for $380, is it worth it? But for some other people, it is. You know, it's money that you're just pretty much throwing away. So something to consider. Now, when you're researching your vehicle, your next vehicle, you want to find out if you want to buy or you want to lease. And if you're buying, do you want to buy new or you want to buy used? Okay. So deciding on what's important in your next vehicle helps you narrow down what's right for you. The following factors vary depending on which option you choose: ownership, depreciation, payments, customization, mileage, and maintenance. All of these different factors are affected differently depending on if you want to buy new, if you want to buy used, or if you want to lease a vehicle. Okay. And we're going to be talking a little bit more in detail about each one of these options. So when you buy a vehicle that is brand new, a new purchase, what are the advantages? Advantages are the fact that the new vehicles are most reliable, right? Will be covered under manufacturer's warranty, which covers certain repairs or parts replacements for several years. Easier to customize and get exactly what you want. So if you want a Ford Mustang, red in color with black leather interior, you should be able to get it. If the manufacturer is making that vehicle, you should be able to get it. So buying a new car gives you the freedom to customize your vehicle if you want to. And at the end of the loan, you own the vehicle. So you're building equity, you're building value, and you can customize it. You can change the wheels, you can change the engine, and do add-ons to the engine, you name it, okay? Disadvantages of buying a new car. New vehicles can be very expensive, of course. And not just the purchase price, but also insurance and registration fees, okay? The value of the vehicle depreciates almost immediately, on average 15 to 20% in the first year. So they say that sometimes when you drive off the lot, your car depreciates about $3,000 to $5,000 right away, which is something to consider when you're buying either brand new or you're buying used. I'll explain why. And unless covered under warranty, repair costs are usually yours. And for new vehicles, if you need to buy something that is out of warranty, it could be a little expensive, okay? Because since it's a brand new car, there may be only one distributor that has that part, and and it may be more expensive than if it's a used car, and there's multiple places where you can find that part that you need, okay? When you buy used cars, some of the advantages of buying a used car is that used cars are cheaper than their new counterparts, okay? So you have money saved there. You may be, and if you've saved up some money, you may be able to buy the vehicle outright, okay? The value of used cars tends to depreciate less quickly than new cars. And that's because a used car took already the hit of depreciation when it was new. So when in the previous slide, when I mentioned 15 to 20% depreciation the first year, well, guess what? When you buy a used car, that vehicle already took that 15 to 20% depreciation the first year when it was new, couple of years back. So you don't need to worry about that kind of depreciation, right? And again, at the end of the loan, you own the vehicle. So you're building equity as well, and you also can customize it. You can make changes to it. Some disadvantages of buying a used vehicle: you may not know the vehicle's history. It could have been in an accident or insufficiently maintained, making it less reliable. Nowadays, they have something called Carfax report, and you can get a lot of good information from those reports on the history of the vehicle, but not everything is reported. And if you take your vehicle to, I don't know, Joe's Mechanic in the corner of Main Street, usually they don't report maintenance. So unless you take it to the dealership that report to Carfax how many times have the vehicle has been serviced, then there is no way for you to know if the vehicle has been maintained properly or not. Okay. Used vehicles typically have a limited or soon to expire warranty, or even no warranty at all. So be careful if you buy a vehicle. You may be on the hook with any car repairs that you may need to do, right? Maintenance costs are usually higher than those for a new car, and it'll be likely to be replaced sooner. So since it's a used car, there may be more serious stuff happening with the vehicle in case you need to get it fixed. And sometimes it's not even worth fixing a vehicle, when sometimes how much to get it fixed, how much it costs, it will be more than the actual vehicle itself. Okay. Now, when you lease a vehicle, there's different things that you want to consider. Some advantages: you can drive a new car every few years without having to worry about selling your old one. So you just turn in and get a new lease, right? Generally, you have a lower monthly payment with a lease than with a car loan, and that is absolutely true. You can choose to have many repairs and maintenance included in your lease. So that's also something that is pretty good, because you don't have to worry about something major happening. It's usually covered with the lease, right? The required upfront costs are usually in leasing a vehicle are usually low. And you don't need to worry about depreciation, because at the end of the day, the vehicle is not going to be yours. So you're not building equity on the vehicle. You don't need to worry about depreciation. You're going to give it back anyways. Okay. It's kind of like renting a vehicle. Some disadvantages of leasing a vehicle: the vehicle does not belong to you, so it's not an asset. It is difficult to get out of a lease contract if you become unable to handle your payments. Insurance could be higher than financing a used or new vehicle, and the reason is because you need to turn the vehicle back to the dealership. Non-compliance. Give me a second. I got disconnected from the network. I'll be right back. I will be right back, folks. I got disconnected from the network and now I'm getting an error. Hold on just a second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that mishap. I got disconnected from the network, but now I'm back on. All right, so we were talking about a lease. So disadvantages, mileage. So I was just mentioning about mileage. If you turning back a vehicle and it has, you're over the mileage, you're gonna pay a certain amount of cents or money per mile. So you could add up $500, $1,000 extra when you turn it back in. Okay. And finally, you need to keep the vehicle in good condition. You cannot customize, and non-compliance can result in extra fees as well. Okay. All right. So Affinity has partnered up with Enterprise, and you guys may know of Enterprise as a company that rents their vehicles, a rental vehicle, right? Rental company. But what they do is they buy these huge lots of vehicles, they put them on their platform to be rented. And then when they hit a certain mileage, what they do is they take off these vehicles off the platform and they sell the vehicles. And they have their own dealership. So they have their own dealers where they can sell these vehicles, and these vehicles are well maintained. I mean, usually if they're in the business of renting or allowing the public to rent their vehicles, usually these vehicles are very clean, they're well maintained, because they want to avoid somebody being stranded somewhere with no vehicle, right? So since Affinity has paired up with Enterprise, you guys have the ability to research or buy a vehicle from them, and there's extra incentives for you to buy a vehicle with Enterprise car sales. No haggle prices, guaranteed Kelly Blue Book for your trading, a year 12,000 mile limited warranty, inspection, roadside assistance, Carfax reports, 7-day repurchase agreement if you didn't like the vehicle. Okay. Also, when you're shopping around for a vehicle, you don't want to shop around several dealers. You don't to get the best deal. You don't want to just go to the one dealer where your friend works at and get the vehicle there, because you don't know. Sorry, if you could be missing out on a better deal at another vehicle for the vehicle that you want to purchase. You also want to look up VINs for vehicles on websites such as Carfax or NADA for reliability, recalls, and vehicle history. Again, as I mentioned before, you may not get the full picture of the history of the vehicle, but if information is out there, well, it never hurts to have it, right? You want to start shopping around for cars at the right time. Dealers tend to reduce their prices at the end of the model year or at the end of the month when dealers need to turn over stock. Last vehicle I purchased was December 31st, 2019, I think it was. So it was not only the end of the month, it was the end of the year. And they wanted to get that last sell in. So I remember us, my wife and I, walking out of the dealership at around 8 o'clock at night when they were about to close. And we got a really, really good deal. So you wanna, if you're shopping around and you're not in need, you wanna shop around at the right time of the month. Towards the end of the month, you probably be able to get better deals than at the beginning of the month. And the worst time to shop around for a vehicle is when you need to purchase that same day. If the salesperson gets wind that you are in dire need, then they'll be less inclined to work with you and give you a good deal or lower the price of the vehicle, because they know that you are in an emergency, and at the end of the day, you're gonna sign that dotted line. So it's it's like playing poker when you go to a dealership. You don't want to show your hand until you need to. Okay. Shopping before you are between a rock and a hard place allows you to walk away if the price of the vehicle isn't just right. So you don't have to be afraid of walking away from the desk. And a lot of people feel bad. It's like, oh, I've been sitting here for 2 hours and this salesperson is trying to sell me this vehicle. I feel bad. I just lost 2 hours of his time. Hey, he's there to sell a vehicle. And if you don't like what you're being sold, if you don't like the terms, you're more than welcome to get up and walk away. At the end of the day, it's you who's making the payments, not the person. So when you are able to have the time to get up and walk away, it says here, doing so will, on occasion, will encourage the seller to make it right, to make you, to work with you, okay? Test drive is very important. So here comes the fun part. You want to make an appointment. You want to test drive in varying road conditions, hills and curves, on ramps and highways, local roads, starts and stops. So you wanna kind of like listen to the engine. You want to make sure that it sounds correct. You could go with somebody and test drive a vehicle, someone that perhaps is a mechanic or knows a little bit about vehicles, that can let you know if there's something off with the vehicle. Also, driving comfort is key. Make sure you're comfortable with getting in and out of the vehicle, gauge placement, and window visibility. Don't be afraid to try several different models, okay? If you are, say for example, you're looking for an SUV, you could go to Honda and try the what is it, the CRV, or you could go to Toyota and try the Highlander. Don't be afraid, unless you really narrow down to one kind of vehicle and model, then your options are pretty much more open than just having one car in mind. More research, look up the vehicle in Carfax vehicle history report. Many dealers will already provide the report to you for the used cars, but a private sale will often require you to request your own, and they're not free. So be ready to spend a little to get one of these reports. Getting it will be is a great way for you to protect yourself from vehicles with serious problems. Again, I don't wanna give you guys the wrong information that with one of these reports you'll know exactly what has happened with the vehicle at all times. It doesn't happen like that, and I mentioned it twice already. With these reports, you get a picture of the history report of the vehicle, but if the previous owner was taking it to the local place down the road, then that information will not come up on the report, and you wouldn't know exactly if the car was properly maintained or not. You want to be aware of, and that not every accident or issue will show up on the Carfax, since they rely on insurance and police report. An incident will not show up on the report if they were never reported or insurance claim was never filed. Also that, okay? Also, you can bring the vehicle to a trusted local mechanic for review. A trained eye who knows what they're looking for structurally and mechanically can easily tell you if there's anything that needs to be looked at, or that something that could be costly down the road, okay? Negotiation. So when you're negotiating, patience is key. So start lower than what you're looking to spend. Again, like I said, playing poker, right? Some dealers will try to drag this process out to wear you down. And I've seen it happen. Last time I purchased a vehicle, there was a couple with us that were there for like 4 or 5 hours, okay? So they may try to drag this process, and then at the end of the day, you just want to sign and get out of there. You got to be careful with those kinds of different techniques that they may use, right? Bringing a friend or family member to help you talk the negotiation out can be helpful. These people, a friend or a family member, are looking at the transaction from another perspective. You're the buyer, you may be something called impulse buying. So you really want the car, you just want to sign the dotted line. If you bring a friend or a family member, they don't have anything at stake with the vehicle, so they can let you know, hey, listen, you're doing a good job, or you're having a great experience, and you're gonna get a great deal. Or they may tell you, you know what, look, dude, I wouldn't pay for it, and explain why, right? As I mentioned before, don't be afraid to walk away. Usually a lost sale is worse than giving a discount for a dealer, okay? Remember that your pre-approval is all inclusive of additional taxes and fees, and you may be able to use this as leverage for the dealer to reduce the price, okay? So if the dealer is trying to inflate the price because of all of these different taxes and fees, extra stuff, your pre-approval already has all of that included. So you may force the dealer to drop down the price so that way it fits your pre-approval amount. If you don't like the pressure of negotiating, or know that it's not one of your strengths, consider shopping at a dealer or retailer who has fixed prices, okay? Your trading is very important. So if you have a vehicle that you want to turn in as part of a down payment, or you want to trade it in, you want to know what the vehicle value is. Kelley Blue Book or NADA will give you kind of like an average of what the value would be. You want to keep in mind that even though the trading will typically sell for less than a private sale, you are also saving the hassle and headache of managing a private sale. So they may offer you a little bit lower than what you can get out in the market. But out in the market, you have to deal with marketing the vehicle. You need to deal with appointments, people coming in to look at the vehicle. So sometimes it's worth it to turn it into a dealer, depending on how much they give you, right? But you should be able to negotiate that amount. Don't forget about the value of your time spent advertising and meeting with interested buyers if you decided to buy your vehicle out in the privately. Your trading will also be deducted from the overall purchase, resulting in less sales tax being paid for your purchase. Remember, you can and should negotiate the value of your trading. The extras. So there's a couple of extra things that the dealership may offer you. Gap insurance or gap waiver protection. So this is something good. I always get it. covers the cost of your vehicle value and the remaining balance on your loan in case of total loss and theft. It is offered by Affinity Federal Credit Union, of course, when your vehicle is financed through us. So what is GAP? GAP is, for example, you purchase a vehicle, you purchased it for $30,000. As you know, the vehicle is brand new, and when you drove off the vehicle, the lot, now the vehicle is worth 26,000, not 30 anymore, 26,000. Now you're driving down the road, your vehicle is no longer 30,000, it's only 26 because it depreciated, right? We mentioned that a new vehicle depreciates faster, right? And God forbid you're in an accident, and now everything's good with you, nothing happened to you, but the car was declared a total loss. Well, what happens is that the insurance company is going to turn around and say, okay, what's the value of the vehicle? Guess what? The value is 26,000, it's not 30. So the insurance company is going to make a check out for 26,000 to your bank or whoever is financing your vehicle. What happens with the other 4,000 from 26 to 30? Remember, you financed 30. So you need to make payments and you may need to make good on $30,000. But the insurance only paid 26. This is where the gap insurance comes into place. They cover that gap between the value of the vehicle and what you owe. Eventually, as time passes, the gap will not be needed anymore because the value of the vehicle will kind of like decrease less rapidly than your balance. So there's going to be a point where your balance of the vehicle and the value will meet the same place. But until then, this gap will cover in case something happens to you and you don't want to end up with a loan, paying a loan and no vehicle because it was declared a total loss. Okay. Also extended warranties. So many used vehicles may fall outside the original manufacturer's warranty. And so they may offer you an extended warranty for some vehicles. All of this is financed through your payment. So you want to find out what is it that you're being offered, understand what kind of warranty you're getting, and find out if it's worth it or not. Sometimes it's not. If the vehicle is not, for example, 2023, but maybe 2021, you know, it's a fairly new vehicle or kind of new because it's been only a couple of years. So maybe it's not worth it, you know, but it all depends on your style and how comfortable you are. Protects you from unexpected expensive issues and can usually be included in your loan amount. Okay. This is the last slide of our presentation this afternoon. Auto loans are offered by Affinity. So this is what where you guys can take advantage as being members of Affinity. Our rates are very competitive right now. We have car buying partnership with Costco, as well as enterprise car sales, flexible repayment options. We have a 0.25% discount if you set up automatic payments to come out of your checking account into your loan. And also we offer, as I mentioned in the previous slide, the gap protection, debt protection and breakdown coverage if you decide to purchase and finance your next vehicle with Affinity. Okay. With that said, this brings my presentation to an end. I would like to open up the floor for any questions that any one of you may have. I want to apologize for that mishap in mid-presentation. Something happened with the network and I had to log back in. But thank you, all of you, for sticking around and being patient with me. Also, if I don't have the answer to one of your questions, I promise to research it and get back to you with the answer. There were a couple of questions from last week's webinar that I'm still waiting on the answers. So if one of you who attended last week is here, I haven't forgotten about you. I did get your email and I'm waiting on answers. I didn't know the answer, but I'm waiting on somebody from that department to let me know. As soon as I know, I will get back to you. Okay. With that said, let me take a look at, also, right after this email, right after this webinar, in about half an hour, you'll receive an email with the recording link to be able to rewatch this presentation, as well as the link to register for next week's presentation, which will be on, let me take a look, credit scoring enhancement. So that's next week's webinar. If you guys are looking to improve your score, or understand what the credit score is, I highly encourage all of you to register for next week. So it will happen next Wednesday, the 17th at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Okay. All right. With that said, let me take a look at the chat or the Q&A option. Don't see any questions or anything on the chat right now. So at this point, I would like to bring this webinar to a close with the follow-up email that I'll be sending you. You guys can respond to that email. That's my work email, with any questions that you guys would have thought of after this webinar is over. I want to make sure that you guys can use me as a resource. And thank you for sticking around and paying attention. I hope this was informative to all of you. I'll see you guys next week in the next installment of the weekly webinar. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a question. Oh, not a question, but a comment. Thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you, all of you who stuck around. And these webinars are meant for this, for you guys to be gather information and be prepared if you guys are gonna go and purchase a vehicle in the future. Okay. So have a wonderful evening and see you guys next week. Bye-bye, everyone.